Da 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 da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes. Get those notifications out. In the meantime, if you've never met me before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And we got into a doozy this week. It really did throw me for a loop, right? Nothing that I can't handle, I don't think. But at the same time, I want to make sure that I am absorbing the proper lessons because in those lessons is where I'm going to find those tools that I'm going to move forward with, those tools that I'm going to attach to my tool belt, right? So the next time we come across a situation, a conversation, experience, or an adventure, right, where this word influence, and this is the word that we got this week. It's our 45th word. And if you've never popped into one of my lives before, we're putting a deck together. We have been pulling powerful words each week and been working with that word every day for a week. And I have to tell you, it has been a process for me because, in all truth, I just said, "Oh, well, this will make for some good content for my brand, right? This will be fun. This will be exciting." And it has been fun and it has been exciting and it has added content to my brand. But I didn't expect the influence that it was going to have on me. So, looking at this word today, and before I went into definitions, I thought about my own definition when it came to that amazing word of inspiration. And I was tying this word quite a bit this week with influence, right? Because in searching out, right, that influence that will serve us well, that will help us make a little bit of movement, we do have to be inspired. We do have to be motivated. It is the truth. We are only human. We know that movement is difficult. We know quite often and more often than not, movement can be not fun, right? It could be a pain in the butt. It could be frustrating. It could be scary, right? So we need to be inspired to right, even get our foot in front of the other. To use an example, especially when I've struggled with my weight my entire life, I could easily be inspired by one of my sisters losing 20 pounds. I have a sister. She's on a diet constantly, up and down like a yo yo. But she inspires me sometimes in her determination when she goes on these keto diets and she's on it for 6 months and she doesn't cheat and she looks so kick butt. I find that to be so inspiring because I know my sister, she'd much rather be chowing down on a box of Kraft dinner or having something sweet. And yet, right, she was strict with herself, right? She put herself on a schedule. She inspired herself, and at the same time, in being that example and inspiring herself, she inspired me. And it makes me to want to get on a diet, right? And do a little bit better by myself. That's just an example, right? Because those play into my limitations and some of those compulsions and some of those things that do calm my system down, and we all have them. And in being genuine, when I come in, I don't want to project, and nobody would believe it if I did project. And that's the thing. people come online all the time and they just spew and they expect to be the inspiration for somebody, but they're not even inspiring themselves. They're just spewing, right? They're just taking information and they're just spewing it as fact, and they're not putting that action in. They're not making themselves that example for others. And it's really interesting when you look in the definition of what inspiration says here. First, before I went into inspiration, I wrote my own inspiration down. Inspiration is a feeling that excites our creativity into wanting to make movement, right? That idea of, oh my goodness, look at my sister. She lost 20 pounds. She looks so great. If Alice can do it, I can do it too, right? That's the inspiration. And in that inspiration, right, we get these ideas. How can we do it? Well, she did it on a keto diet. Maybe we can go on a keto diet. How much weight do I want to lose? When are we going to start this? And the idea is just start right the moment that you think of it, right? Because the moment we are inspired, we need to be motivated. And especially as highly sensitives and as empaths, that's our right. We need to be inspired. We need to be in constant motivation. That's why I'm sitting here right now, a daily dose from the moment I step my foot into mindset. I was there. I've been exploring everything and everywhere's since. But that mindset keeps me grounded, right? It makes it possible for me to have boundaries and beliefs, and also be willing to be inspired by something else, something that might spark some creativity in me or spark some excitement in me for some change, right? When I have that spark of wanting change and I'm in it right now, the mind does get to work, doesn't it? Right? There's all these ideas and all these plans, because for me, myself, I want to inspire, not expire. I want to inspire. I want to inspire my audience, right? That even, working in the part time in my little thrift store that puts the roof over my head, that I can create a magnificent life for myself at the same time having my excitement sparked, right? To have it, that created creativity, go into excitement mode to want to make some change into my life. And that point, I'm inspiring myself. Sometimes, right? We need to be, and as highly sensitives and as empaths, we quite often are doing this on our own. And we can look to the outside world. We can look in social media and in magazines and right, but for the most part, that's just going to make us feel bad. It's right. It's, oh my goodness, I'm 40 pounds overweight. And look at her, she's 80 pounds and she looks absolutely amazing. And oh, but you don't see the struggle in that catwalk, do you? Right? I saw the struggle with my sister, right? And it's the people around us that should be inspiring us and motivating us, right? And giving us that space to feel safe enough that we can excite ourselves, right? Into creativity and lose ourselves in that a little bit, right? In order for us to give ourselves a chance to come up with something that will create change in our lives, right? Not sticking in that mode, because I've done that, and I do that. And I found that if I put that action in to that want, that desire, that excitement, more than likely I'm going to make a little bit of movement. Remember, I said in my own here, inspiration is a feeling that excites our creativity into wanting to make movement. We are inspired. Oh, right? But we can go, oh, all we want. But if we're just still sitting here, just going, oh, where is that going to get us? It's not going to get us anywhere, right? So it needs to inspire us to want to make movement, right? In that creativity, how do we get going, right? How do we get on this right now, right? So I went into the actual definition after right? I've been beating myself up on this, right? I'd like to be my own example for myself. And I feel that I am, and because I'm with myself day after day, moment after moment, I see the changes and I see the benefits in the movement that I'm making. But at the same time, because I work in baby steps, right? And sometimes, right, we have to look a little ways back. I've been at this a while now. We're going on 10 years. Sometimes we got to look a ways back to see where we started at, to have an appreciation as to where we're sitting in the moment, right? So I went into the definition of this, and it was really curious because it said here, and let's just go right down to the definition. Um, Definition of inspiration. Inspiration uh, is a feeling of enthusiasm you get from someone or something which gives you a new and creative ideas, right? That's great, but it has to go further than that, because inspiration is the most magnificent of influence, right? It's the most, because it adds the feeling, it drums something up in me, it inspired me, it got me excited, it got that desire, it got that want, right? It's very impressionable, and it can't be just giving you creative ideas, creative ideas, right? It's inspiring. That's that moment. That's that chance to make some movement in that moment, whether it's a text or a phone call, or if it's jotting down the ideas, if it's going in and researching the idea and seeing who else is doing that, right? And whether or not you're researching that to see who else is doing that, so you can, right, maybe find some partnership in that, in drumming up these amazing creative ideas that all of a sudden are coming out to you, because, right, you're so full of enthusiasm and excitement for that movement, not that you're going to make, but that you're making, the moment that you're inspired by that, right? Today I was watching little clips. I like this movie. It was called Billy Elliot, and it was about, and it's a true story. It's based on a true story of a little boy who wanted to be a ballet dancer. He wanted to be a dancer. He loved dancing, right? And his father was a single father, right? I can't remember if the mother passed away, but something happened to the mother, and he was bringing up his two sons on his own. It was in a time where he was on strike. I think he was a minor and he was on strike. There's no money coming in. and his son wants to go to Juilliard or one of these great big fancy dance schools. It was his dream, and right, he was influenced and inspired to in his excitement to, right, chase after those dreams. But that costs money. School takes a lot of time. But it was his passion and his excitement that got him into that action immediately. And just, right, it's he's not in Juilliard yet. He's whatever school. It was in England. I'm sure it wasn't Juilliard because Juilliard's in the States. But I'm just saying, right? It's been a while since I saw the movie. And I was so smart, and I'm like bawling my eyes out when he becomes a famous ballet dancer, and his father's in the audience, and his father's got so much pride because he scraped every penny together, that he sacrificed so much. And he, right, in truth, he didn't give his son the credit, right, that he didn't believe in his son in that moment that his son could achieve it, right? His father was a man's man, right? And he thought that ballet dancing was a little bit foo-foo for his son, and there was a little bit of stereotyping and a little bit of, right, rubbing from his friends and in his community, and right, he was looking for his own face, and yet, right, he held his son up. He supported his son. He got his son through that school, and he became a famous ballet dancer. And I was so inspired by that. I don't even dance, let alone ballet dance, but I was inspired by the determination of Billy Elliot in chasing down his dreams, right? And utilizing every opportunity and every possibility to make that dream happen. But I was also inspired, maybe even more inspired, by Billy Elliot's father, who sacrificed so much, right, in order for his son to be able to achieve that dream, right? We don't all get to be the person that gets to present, right? Because those people that we're presenting to are just as important. You would be nothing without the audience. You would be nothing without the spectator. You would be nothing without the person who appreciates what you bring to the table, right? And this is the way that I think. And each one of us gets to decide as to what inspires us. And I suspect it has to do with our upbringing, right? Our dreams, our goals, our ambitions, those things in our life that are important to us, right? We'll be inspired by the characters, we'll be inspired by the movement, and we'll be inspired by that entertainment and venture conversation and experience of what our passions are for, right? I'm not a ballet dancer, but I found uh, a moment in a space in a movie to find that relationship to inspiration today when I was in it. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, no, all day I was attaching influence to the inspiration, and I didn't understand why I kept getting mixed. Every time I went back into the subject to get ready for my live tonight, I'm going, oh my goodness, why why do I keep coming back to influence? It's because the inspiration ultimate is the ultimate of influence, because the inspiration is that what drummed up that feeling, right? That feeling of curiosity, right? It's what made my eyes fill up with tears and run down my face when I'm looking at right? Billy Elliot's dad with so much pride, and I'm thinking, oh, right, right, and it tugged at my heart. And in that moment of inspiration, that's when you take the action, because the creativity starts immediately, right? Right? That inspiration is the light bulb, and you're getting that big shot right in the beginning, and that means, right? Take that and run with it, right? Run with it. Inspiration is a feeling that excites our creativity into wanting to make movement. It's not enough just to want to make movement, because, we're inspired all the time. I'm inspired all the time, right? You're inspired all the time. But unless that motivation, unless that action comes right after that, right? Inspiration, that thing that inspired us becomes a memory, right? It becomes something that won't even be thought of until you see that movie clip again, or somebody mentions it, or, right, has a moment themselves that kind of reminds you of that little bit of inspiration that you have, and you get retouched in that moment, right? But unless we get right to it immediately, it has to be immediately, because, right, that inspiration is the ultimate opportunity to make movement, right? It's meant to dazzle and amaze us. It's meant to grip our attention. It's meant to drum up the curiosity, and it's meant to move us. It's meant to move us 100%. Okay, you guys. I'm gonna leave it at that. This was my last day out of my set of days off. I was in this word, I was drumming it from every single direction, having no idea how I was gonna come at it today. I am so grateful for what influences me, because, when I come to the table with these lessons that I'm digging into in the moment, it's only digestible to me because of the influence that I've gotten, the influence that I've run with, the influence that I received, and I have attached it to what I'm serving, right? And I suspect, in talking about influence this week, we will talk a little bit about some of those characters that inspire me, right? That make it possible for me to stay excited in my curiosity, in my creativity, right? That, well, we'll see when these 54 words, we've got nine more nine more weeks to go, right? And this little program that we've been working on for almost a year now will be coming to an end, or it will be transitioning into something different, right? And I will be excited by that. And I will have inspired myself in that, in completing that task. Remember what I said when I came in live tonight? I had no idea we were going to go so deep, and there were going to be so many lessons, and it was going to throw me for a loop from one week to another. But also at the same time, it hasn't been difficult, right? It has been eye opening, and I suspect with a lot of these lessons and conversations that we're having, I'll be able to take these along with me, right? And hopefully they serve me well, and in dishing them out, maybe somebody else will be served by them. And wouldn't that be amazing? It's the expectation in any case. So we move forward, right? Excited to see what inspires us next. Okay, you guys. We'll see each other tomorrow. Have a great night.